Welcome back to another explainer. Okay, if you're gearing up for a big biology exam, you've probably hit the plant morphology chapter and just hit an absolute wall, right? You're staring at floral formulas and suddenly biology looks like a confusing punishment made of math and Greek symbols. But don't panic. Today we're going to completely reframe this. This isn't just a random assortment of letters. It's a brilliant cheat code. Once you get the hang of this shorthand, you're not just memorizing dry facts, you'll literally be able to mentally map out the exact anatomy of almost any flower on Earth.
I totally get the frustration. You look at a dense, algebraic-looking string of characters, like this intimidating formula right here for the hibiscus flower, and you feel completely overwhelmed. You're probably thinking, no way, am I memorizing a dozen of these for the test? Well, spoiler alert, you don't have to. We're going to decode them instead. By the end of this explainer, you look at this exact string and instantly picture a perfectly structured flower. We are going to crack this code together.
Here is our agenda for today. First, we'll crack the floral code, run through a glossary of floral modifiers, and shine a spotlight on the formulas for the hibiscus and pea. Then, we'll compare major plant families, look at monocots versus dicots, and wrap up with the evolution of floral structures. Okay, let's jump straight into Section 1, Cracking the Floral Code, starting with our base alphabet of anatomy. Think of a flower like a giant bullseye made of concentric circles or whorls. When we read a formula, we always read structurally from the outside in. Step 1 is K. That stands for the calyx. You know, those protective green sepals at the very base. Step 2 is C for corolla. Those are your showy, colorful petals that bring in the pollinators. Then we get to the reproductive parts. Step 3 is A for androecium, the male stamens that produce pollen. And right smack in the middle is Step 4, G for gynoecium, the female carpels and ovary. Outside to inside, K, C, A, G. But hey, this is biology, so of course there's an exception, right? And exam writers absolutely love to test this one. Sometimes a flower doesn't have distinct green sepals and colorful petals. They just kind of blend together seamlessly into these structures called tepals. Think of a lily. When you literally can't tell the calyx and corolla apart, we just merge K and C together and use the letter P for perianth. So, if you spot a P in a formula on test day, boom, you immediately know you're dealing with merged outer layers. Section 2, Glossary of Floral Modifiers. This is where we add those specific structural details. The very first symbol in a formula is a dead giveaway for the flower's symmetry. See a circle with a cross inside? That is actinomorphic. It means regular radial symmetry. You can slice it like a pizza in any direction through the center and get equal halves, like a perfectly round mustard flower. Now, if you see a percentage sign, that means zygomorphic, or irregular bilateral symmetry. You can only slice it straight down the middle to get two equal halves. Honestly, it's just like a human face. So fun fact, unless you're a literal Picasso pointing, you are zygomorphic. Okay, this next part is absolutely crucial because these tiny blink-and-you-miss-it symbols completely change the anatomy you're describing. Numbers just tell us how many of a certain part there are. But if that number is locked inside parentheses, that means those parts are fused together, maybe into a little cup or tube. No brackets, the parts are completely free and separate. And pay close attention to the G, the gynoecium. If there's a little line drawn underneath the G, the ovary is sitting right on top of everything else. It's superior. A line drawn above the G, the ovary is buried below the other parts, making it inferior. Let's see how this works in action with the mustard plant from the Brassicaceae family. The formula translates flawlessly into a visual diagram. Those outermost rings, that's your K and C, showing the free sepals and free petals. Move a step inside, you've got the stamens, and dead center are those fused carpels. The formula literally acts as a structural blueprint. Reading it lets you mentally sketch out the exact cross-section, proving we aren't just doing arbitrary math here. Section 3, Formula Spotlights on the Hibiscus and Pea. Let's practice translating some really complex examples. Remember that terrifying string of characters from the beginning of our explainer? Here it is again, the hibiscus from the Malvaceae family. Let's read it fluently. First, it's actinomorphic, so radially symmetrical. The next symbol means it's bisexual, containing both male and female parts. Moving outside in, we've got a calyx of 5 fused sepals, a corolla of 5 free petals, notice the lack of brackets there, then an androecium of infinite stamens, and a gynoecium of 5 to infinite fused carpels, sitting as a superior ovary. See? We just built a whole flower from left to right. Now for an all-time exam favorite, the pea flower from the Fabaceae family. It starts with that percentage sign, so it's zygomorphic. Check out the corolla. See, 1 plus 2 plus 2 in brackets. That's the classic butterfly-like shape. It means one big free standard petal, two free side wings, and two fused inner petals forming a keel. And the absolute dead giveaway for a pea, the androecium is A9 in brackets plus 1. That is the famous diadelphous arrangement. 9 stamens fused into one giant bundle with one lonely stamen standing completely free. If you see C 1 plus 2 plus 2 or A9 plus 1, you've got a pea.
Section 4, comparing major plant families. This is your high-yield matrix. Think of this matrix as your ultimate cheat sheet. Comparing these families side by side is how you lock those sneaky multiple choice questions into your memory. We just saw the Fabaceae wild diadelphous stamens. Contrast that with the potato family, the Solanaceae. They love to heavily fuse things in multiples of 5, which you see with those K5 and C5s in brackets, and they're actinomorphic. Then you've got the Liliaceae family. They just completely toss out the K and C for that perionth we talked about earlier, P3 plus 3, and everything there is based on multiples of 3.
Section 5, monocots versus dicots. Let's look at how to recognize these broader plant patterns.
So that whole multiples of 3 thing with the lily, that connects the microworld of the formula straight to the macro traits of the whole plant. Monocots, like our lily, usually build their floral parts in multiples of 3. They're trimerous. They also rock parallel veins on their leaves and have fibrous roots. Dicots, on the other hand, like peas or potatoes, usually stick to 4s or 5s, with net-like leaf veins and a big central taproot. And you know what's so cool about this? It means if someone hands you a leaf with parallel veins, you can already guess its floral formula is going to be packed with 3s before the flower even blooms. Finally, Section 6, evolution of floral structures. We're diving into the why behind the code. To really crush those long-form essay questions, we have to look past the memorization and ask why these structures exist. Think of a floral formula as a record of a plant's evolutionary history. If two totally different species have really similar formulas, it might be homology, meaning they literally inherited that same structural blueprint from a shared ancestor. But sometimes it's convergence. That's when completely unrelated plants end up with the same code, like an inferior ovary, because they independently solved the exact same environmental problem. Maybe they both needed to attract a very specific bug or survive a super harsh climate.
These formulas aren't just static math problems. Every fused petal and superior ovary is a living snapshot of a survival strategy, written in botanical code. It really makes you wonder, as our global climates keep shifting, how are these evolutionary pressures going to rewrite these formulas over the next million years? Which symbols are going to disappear entirely? And what wild new structures will pop up? Keep that thought in the back of your mind as you're reviewing your notes. Thanks so much for hanging out and cracking the floral code with me, and seriously, best of luck on your biology exam.